Hello everyone, Linica here. I just noticed that 6 hours ago, the official War Thunder channel has released a Q&A with War Thunder game director Vyacheslav Bulanikov, also known as BVVD of course. If you've ever seen that abbreviation in the Chinese player names in War Thunder, this is the guy they are referring to. Now, usually Gaijin is quite reserved and they hate talking to the player base directly. So what does this mean? This means that the player numbers are likely dwindling, and this is them trying to do damage control. And you know, looking at the dislikes, doesn't seem like it's working all too well, but hey, let's watch it and see what this is all about.
Hey everyone, my name is Vyacheslav Bulanikov, and I'm the game director for War Thunder. Today, I'll be answering some of the community's questions.
Bring it on.
When will the game's interface be updated?
It'll never be updated. A complete and sudden overhaul of the interface is always extremely stressful, both for the people playing the game and the team working on it.
Oh yeah, it's funny you say that. Very stressful. You know, that's War Thunder. That's the name of the game. Stress. Also, I would like to quickly tell you something. So he says it's hard to reinvent or update the interface. War Thunder came out into public access in around 2013, right? And today it is 2025. So they had around 12 years to improve their interface. So for 12 years, we had to work with these useless stat cards that provided you zero relevant information because why? Because improving the interface is stressful. Well, that's fine. Let's move on.
That's why I say it'll never be updated. Instead, we follow an evolutionary approach to interface development. You can actually see how much it's changed over the past year. Just compare your old screenshots if you've been playing for a while.
All right, to not just be a negative Nancy, to be fair, they do improve the interface over time. Very, very slowly, but they do.
Will anti-radar missiles be added?
Anti-radar missiles. I'm not sure I'm qualified to talk about this, but hey, let's listen anyway.
Yes.
Will the survivability of tactical and long-range bomber aircraft?
Oh no. Oh, okay. Now I am qualified to talk about this, and I'm kind of afraid of what he's gonna say next.
Improve?
Yes, we're not fully satisfied with how these aircraft are currently set up.
Oh my god, they are aware of the bomber problem? Okay.
Current parameters aren't realistic enough. They're simply way too fragile, and that makes those planes that are already quite challenging to use even less competitive when facing fighters of their respective battle ratings.
Oh, that's it? Oh no, they're coming to the wrong conclusions. Oh no. Alright, so if you're not up to speed, let me explain. I have been talking about the bomber problem in a lot of my videos. Now, some people think that bombers are useless in ARB because the bombers are too fragile. And yes, bombers are generally bad at PvP. However, that's not the main issue. This makes sense for bombers to be weak at PvP, right? After all, bombers are a specialized type of aircraft that are meant to bomb things. The real fundamental issue with bombers right now is that they have no purpose whatsoever. So you fly a bomber and most of them are weak at PvP, so that's out of the question. Okay, let's say you want to bomb something, because that's what they were built for. So what can you bomb? Airfields? Nah, not really. That feature has been removed a long time ago and actually executed completely fairly recently. Bombing small targets like trucks and pillboxes? Nah, that's too much hassle. Those will be destroyed by attackers. So you bomb strategic targets, right? The bases. So you destroy 1 or 2 bases, if you can even reach them without dying, and you see that, oh, destroying those bases actually removed the same amount of tickets from the enemy team as would destroying 1 or 2 trucks. So you flying in a straight line for 5 minutes and dropping bombs on a base had the same impact as a random player in any other plane, just flying to a random truck on the road and shooting it with a machine gun. You add this up, and you end up with bombers that are bad at PvP, bad at PvE, and serve zero purpose. And judging by what BVVD says here, they are either not aware of this, or are ignoring this issue on purpose. And if this is how they decide to fix bombers, if they just buff their durability, I can guarantee you, I can promise you, nothing will change. Bombers will still remain useless. But okay, let's move on.
Will we get an artillery sight for indirect fire on SPGs?
Nope, that's not planned.
Okay, I guess that's that.
For most artillery vehicles available in-game, the minimum firing range can actually exceed the size of War Thunder's maps, so that kind of sight just wouldn't help you at all.
Wouldn't help you at all. Now I'm wondering, do any of you tank players actually want to have like a World of Tanks style artillery scope? Just like satellite view to bomb people from, 10,000 kilometers away? I think that would be pretty funny. It would probably ruin the game too, but hey, that would be funny.
Are there any mechanics in the works to improve team play and add more depth to the
Ooh, this is a big one. I was actually complaining about this in one of my videos too. Let's see what they say.
game?
Yep, there are some ideas we're considering, especially in the context of modern aviation. But for now, it's simply too early to speak about them.
Are you
Wait, what? That's it? That's your answer? Alright, so for those unaware, in air battles, there's essentially zero team play whatsoever. And it makes sense too. The game is structured in such a way that doing anything else aside from killing is useless. Or I shouldn't say useless, it is not rewarded in any way whatsoever. In air battles, there are currently zero mechanics that reward you for helping your team. The only thing that matters is getting kills. Even winning is a fairly small bonus. You just need to get kills. And if that requires kill stealing, then so be it. You are here to grind after all. Well, probably. I assume most of you play only to grind, which is a little bit sad, but it is what it is. So yeah, there's zero team play in air battles, and judging by his answer, they don't really care. So I do not expect any improvements on that front.
Are you going to fix naval battles?
Does anyone actually play naval? I am genuinely curious.
Over the past few years, we've made a huge number of changes and fixes to naval gameplay.
Now, I think that's true. I have noticed actually a lot of updates specifically for naval, but I don't play it, so I don't know. You tell me, if anyone plays naval, please tell me if they actually improved it, because I think they actually do work on this game mode.
So yes, that means we're constantly improving the naval mode, and doing it in parallel with adding new content to naval battles as well.
When will smoke artillery be added?
We're not planning to add a separate smoke artillery feature.
Wait, what is smoke artillery? So you just sit back and you cover the entire map in smoke? Why? Who wants this? I think I'm just going to skip this.
When will White Rock Fortress return to the game?
Ooh, I actually remember this map, because I played tanks quite a lot when they came out. That was 2015? This map was really cool and really horrible. You could spawn camp severely. You could spawn camp the hell out of the enemy team. This map was almost unplayable, but it was cool.
This map is currently in active development. There's a good chance we'll bring it back in its updated form before the end of the year.
Remember when you said you won't add top-tier premiums? What happened to that?
Oh my god, they actually let this question go through? This is gonna be great. Alright, so for those of you unaware, I'm gonna tell you a little history lesson. So initially, when this game came out, jets like the MiG-15 and the Sabre were top tier, rank 5. When asked about jet premiums, Gaijin said no. There will be no jet premiums at all. So that was bullshit, of course, because eventually we got rank 6 with MiG-19 and F-100, and with that update came the first jet premiums, the MiG-15 bis-ish, the Sabre, what was it called, Sky Blazers or something, and the British Meteor Premium. With that, they changed their promise. So they said, okay, so now rank 6 is the top tier, so we will have premium jets, but there will be no top tier premium jets. So, if rank 6 is the current top tier, then rank 5 will be the ceiling for premiums. And these days, as you know, they do sell top-tier premium jets. Their most recent one is that premium, SU-30. And that plane does indeed participate in top-tier matches. So what can they possibly say at this point? Where will they move the goalpost now? Well, let's see.
Even though the game now includes premium vehicles of the highest rank, we still don't plan to add top-tier premiums that would be exceptionally effective or strong, better than their peers, in terms of flight characteristics, armament, and so on. The idea is that unlocking top-tier vehicles through the regular tech tree should still offer something new and give you an advantage or capability that even the best premium vehicles don't have. That's why we have no plans to introduce premium vehicles with top-level combat performance.
Okay. All right. So now we are moving this promise to, yes, there will be top tier premiums, but those top tier premiums will not be better than the actual top tiers. And well, wow, thanks. That's really great. We went from no premium jets to, okay, there will be premium everything, but at least it will not be like better than the actual top tiers. Now, you know what I'm wondering? Will they ever change this promise as well? Will they eventually add premiums that are straight up better than the top tiers? I think that's very much possible.
Air RB enduring confrontation tests were beloved by the community. Can we expect to see Air RB?
All right, this is another great topic. A lot of people did enjoy Air RB EC, and this mode was honestly, in many ways, in most ways, superior to the current Air RB, which is just completely, like, pointless. Well, maybe not pointless, but, you know, there are no objectives, no point to anything. It's just, say, like a 16v16 deathmatch. So let's see what they have to say about this one.
EC in the future?
We're not planning to replace the current Air RB with an RB version of Enduring Confrontation or somehow mix EC into the regular random battles.
All right. Well, that's, you know, that's a little disappointing. My hopes of them ever fixing Air RB to be something more than just pure deathmatch are dying very quickly.
We've already tried adding EC-style missions to Air RB as a separate event, but they didn't gain much popularity among players. So it's not really our decision, it's just the reality shaped by player experience and preferences.
Yeah, you know why these EC maps weren't popular? Because they didn't actually add anything cool to these EC maps. Basically what they did back then is they just added these huge, absolutely tremendously huge maps into the regular ARB. And that's all they did. There was nothing interesting on those maps. No cool objectives, nothing. So of course people disliked them. Because what do you do on those huge maps? Just fly around and do nothing? So it's not that people don't want big maps, it's that people want to also have something to do on those big maps, instead of just flying around and doing nothing.
That said, we completely understand that some players are interested in trying something fresh, something new, and we are already working on that something, a new mode in fact. It's called Aerial Warfare.
Alright, initially I had big hopes for this, but I feel like this is also gonna be one big misfire, but we'll get to that later.
Are there any plans to introduce more WW2 vehicles to make mid-range BRs more diverse?
Oh, that's a good question. And I feel like the answer is going to be no, because they don't make money with these World War II vehicles anymore. Those don't cut it. These days, Gaijin is all about that modern stuff.
Given how many mid-rank vehicles are already in the game, and how well those parts of the tech tree are filled out, adding even more vehicles of that era doesn't make much sense.
So you're saying there are too many World War II vehicles already. Did you know that Germany still doesn't have a good propeller plane to compete with the likes of P-51H? You could work on that, you know?
That's why we more often than not use those kinds of vehicles in special events and activities. Still, there are quite a few interesting vehicles from that era that can and will be added over time.
It's insane to see how much of the map is blocked off in the new North Holland map.
Maps aren't actually getting smaller. They're designed to be the size the level designer intended them to be. The idea behind those specific missions is to offer fast, action-packed gameplay where you can play very aggressively. Both sides clash.
Wait, have they been reducing the size of tank maps? Is that what's happening? Are they like straight up killing the flanking playstyles? If they are, that's pretty crazy.
Quickly, fights happen right away, everybody gets frags, and players know where to find the enemy. The time between...
Oh yeah. Yeah, we don't want any of that like big brain gameplay. Nah. We just want fast-paced, instant action. You just get kills, drive forward, get kills, die. That's all we want from the players.
The whole idea is to keep players focused on fighting each other so that they get all that action instead of just spreading out all over the map, because that...
Oh yeah, I hate it when people just like spread all over the map and play somewhat smart. Nah, that sucks.
Why are copy and paste vehicles added in place of more interesting, unique options?
Okay. Oh, wow. Who let these questions through? That's a great one, actually. Gaijin does copy-paste all the time in this game. There's so much copy-paste here. It's insane. And I don't think he can really answer this well in any way at all.
That's a bit of a misconception. We don't add
The fact that you're copy-pasting the same vehicles over like 5 nations is a misconception? Okay.
such vehicles instead of unique ones. We add them alongside unique vehicles. Players themselves would then insist that we should add the vehicle to other nations as well.
Okay, so them copy-pasting vehicles into like every single tree is actually the player's fault. Okay, I see, I get it.
That doesn't mean, of course, that we don't have plans to add unique vehicles to the game. Far from it.
How is work on the World War mode progressing? When can we expect?
Oh, this sucks. I'm gonna say more about this later, but them still holding on to this World War thing, this new mode, is such a big mistake. It didn't work back when they tried to introduce it to the game, and I feel like it's still not gonna work. I think it's gonna be a flop, but, well, let's see what he says.
The World War mode is in continuous, steady, though not very fast, development. Just recently, we talked about our plans for developing aerial warfare and ran several playtests, including SEAD and strategic bombing playtests.
This is what I'm talking about. Those unique events were actually cool. That is something I want to see for ARB, to have actual interesting maps with interesting objectives. But instead, it sounds like they want to take these cool, unique things and cram them into this World War mode that nobody is going to play. So we will have this completely desolate and abandoned World War mode that nobody's going to play. And then we will have the shitty ARB that people will play, of course. I think they are making a big mistake by doing all this for the World War mode instead of the regular main modes.
In the future, these and similar modes could become special events within the aerial warfare system on the global map.
Why? Who cares about this global map? Who's gonna play it? Most people who play this game, they only log in and press to battle. They don't want to sit on a global map, look for squadrons, look for squads of people to play with. This is such a big mistake, but alright, I'm gonna shut up now.
That's when World War, as its own game mode, will officially make its real debut.
There was a test of the PvE mode recently. Are you continuing to work on it?
Jesus, PvE in War Thunder is absolutely miserable. While these PvE modes exist in War Thunder, like, you know, the arcade air assault and ground assault, these modes give you absolutely nothing in terms of rewards. So I am expecting them to go nowhere with this. Because it's easy, right? It's easy to kill AI, and Gaijin does not want to give you RP and SL easily.
From time to time, we create unique or themed in-game events to give players something fresh and unusual. Such events can be one-time experience, or they might return in the future. One example is the World War mode that we already mentioned.
Please stop with your World War mode, please. I don't want to hear about it anymore.
Are there any plans for strategic bombers?
Oh no. Not bombers. Gaijin does not know how to handle bombers. Please. Oh my god.
We don't have any plans to introduce those aircraft as top-tier vehicles in our current meta. But as museum pieces, collector's aircraft, or event vehicles, yes, strategic bombers might have...
Okay, so they will add them. Of course they will. As long as there's money to be made, they will add them. And judging by the miserable state of current bombers, yeah, those will suffer as well.
Can we expect a tighter battle rating spread of...
Okay, Copium. So before this guy starts dancing around this question, I'm gonna give you a real answer. They will never do this, not because of any of the balance considerations, but because doing something like this will increase the queue times. And queue times are crucial for Gaijin. Anything that has potential to negatively affect queue times will never be added to Gaijin, and this is why something like this will also never happen. But hey, let's see what he has to say.
Combat strength isn't the only factor that affects gameplay. Variety matters too. If we narrow the BR spread, yes, the vehicles you encounter will be closely matched in terms of their combat capabilities, but the overall diversity of vehicles you encounter will shrink as well.
Oh my god, is that the main concern? Gaijin cares about diversity. You heard it here first, folks. And I get it, right? I'm sure we would be so sad if the games were less diverse and we couldn't get absolutely destroyed in full up tiers. I would be sad.
On top of that, you have to understand the fact that narrowing the spread could significantly increase matchmaking times.
Okay, he's actually telling the truth? Sure, let's see it.
And if we made the range even tighter, wait times could stretch into several minutes, or even dozens of minutes. So the answer is no.
Okay, he's telling the truth, and that's the real answer. They will never do this because it negatively affects queue times.
Any news on the development of submarines?
We're continuing to work on
Submarines. That's cool. But again, does anyone play naval?
submarines, but implementing such a complicated and controversial type of vehicle takes a lot of time. We're very grateful to the community and to all submarine enthusiasts for their patience, and we'll do our best to make sure that the final result meets your expectations.
Are there any new game modes in the works? Players are tired of capturing zones.
Oh my god, real questions. This is something I complained about as well in my tank video. I have no idea how you people who play tanks have been doing the same thing for over 10 years now. Every single tank game is either capture and hold one objective or capture and hold 3 objectives. This is the most boring, uninspired thing ever. But hey, I guess that's still better than ARB, right? Because ARB has no objective whatsoever.
We think that if players were truly tired of the classic missions with 1 or 3 objectives, they'd have already stopped playing and switched to something else.
Wait, what? What the hell is he saying? Is that his real answer? So he thinks people are fine with the current game modes because they still play the game? Okay, tank players, you heard the man. If you want changes in this game mode, you better stop playing the game completely.
These modes are classic for a reason. They appeal to players with their simplicity and consistency, letting them focus more on actually fighting the enemy rather than learning some complex mission rules or adapting to unpredictable mechanics.
Is he saying that tank players are stupid? This is what it sounds like to me. Like, he's essentially saying that tank players are so stupid that they cannot handle anything more than capturing 1 point or capturing 3 points.
Adding extra layers of complexity within the missions makes things much harder to follow and control. That's why we only introduce such experimental modes as temporary events.
When will we finally get the ability to ban more than one map?
Hello, Walrus. Let me guess what he's gonna say. Never.
No, because even right now, players already have the potential to ban up to 32 maps in the worst-case scenario. That's 16 versus 16 players, each banning 1 map, which removes 32 maps from the pool.
All right, so he's saying a lot of words. What he actually wants to say, but cannot, is that doing this will also negatively impact queue times. And that cannot happen.
We don't think increasing the number of bans would be beneficial. Instead, we're focusing on a variety of measures that prevent players from being placed on the same map several times in a row.
Is there something planned to improve the player experience of the helicopter PvE?
Oh no. PvE and helicopters? Let me guess. No, absolutely not.
PvP battles involving helicopters are a very niche experience, something that appeals to a rather small and specific audience.
Okay, stop right there. So I assume he says that because back when helicopter PvP was available, not that many people played it. But it's not that simple. You can look up any helicopter PvP footage on YouTube right now, and I can promise you, all that you're going to see is just premium KA-50s killing everything else. Those KA-50s were absolutely disgustingly broken. People who had them essentially made that mode unplayable by everyone else. So it is then no wonder that nobody played the mode.
That was clear from the limited popularity of the helicopter PvP mode, so we currently don't have any plans to bring it back in any form. As for dedicated helicopter PvE, we don't have any active or in-progress plans for its additional development right now either.
Alright, you heard it. They don't care about helicopters.
Players leaving after one death in high-tier mixed battles makes this part of the game regularly unenjoyable. Do you have any potential solutions in mind?
Okay, even though I don't play tanks, this is something I hear all the time. It seems like everybody has a problem with this. So let's see if they have a solution.
Yes, we completely agree that when a large portion of one team leaves after their first deaths, it obviously makes the battle less enjoyable. We also understand that players who leave can have legitimate reasons to do that in real life. That's why we're not really eager to introduce some sort of penalty that would force players to stay. Instead,
Penalty, huh? I think it's important to say here that it is not the players who are to blame for this happening in the tank matches. I mean, imagine you are a new guy who just installed this game, and you're playing tanks, you're having fun, but you want to play higher tier tanks. So what are your options to progress quickly? Well, the only real option is to buy a premium tank and play that. But if you do that, then you only have this one premium tank and no lineup to go with it. So this entire thing happening is entirely on Gaijin for setting up the system in such a way. But hey, let's see the solution.
We want to support those who do want to stay, to keep playing but currently can't respawn. We're exploring other ways to solve the issue. For instance, by adding a random vehicle slot in ground battles, similar to how it works for aircraft in naval battles.
What the? Wait, that's actually interesting. Again, I'm not a tank player, so I can't say much, but this does sound pretty cool and interesting.
That way, players without a suitable vehicle for their current battle rating could still respawn using this special additional slot, where a random vehicle would be provided for them.
Okay, hang on. What is this? That sounds cool. A rare Gaijin W?
In a PvP game, it's frustrating to be killed by something you can't counter, new FNF missiles. Is this something you consider when adding power?
Let me answer that for them. No, they don't consider that at all.
There are situations where one team has 4 top BR players and the other 1. This makes the match less fair. Can the matchmaker match these 4 players on either team as a guarantee?
Okay, good question. Let me answer it for them as well. No. Whenever you see these imperfections in the matchmaker, that is simply due to the fact that it's trying to create games as quickly as possible. As I said, queue times are everything. So if you want them to make it perfectly fair, no, they will never do that, because my queue times.
But it's important to understand that even if you were to play 20 to 30 consecutive matches in perfectly balanced teams, where everyone was using vehicles of the exact same battle rating, even the same model, you would still sometimes stomp the enemy very easily, and sometimes get stomped just as easily. That's because the outcome of a battle depends not only on the vehicle, but on the players themselves.
What is he saying? So the question is, hey, the matchmaker is kinda not so great sometimes. Can you fix that? And his answer is, actually, it's skill matters. Yeah, our matchmaker is broken sometimes, but don't worry, just get good. And if you're good, you will always win, no matter what. Full up tiers, no problem. Just get good.
On the other hand, the stricter the matchmaking rules are, the longer the wait times become. We've mentioned this before.
Okay, here we go, queue times.
That at the end of the day, setting up a matchmaking system is always a compromise.
Oh my god. Well, now you know. Who cares about balance, right? I mean, this balance thing, it's kinda cringe. If you're good, you're gonna win all the time anyway, right? All we care about, all that matters in this world is queue times. Because if I can't find a match in 10 seconds, then I will just leave this game and uninstall it.
Battle rating changes often cause vehicles that are played by less players to have artificially higher stats. Do you keep this in mind when making BR changes?
No, they do not keep this in mind. And let me prove it to you, actually. Alright, so check this out. This is just one of many examples. Here we're looking at the P47 D28, battle rating 4.7, P47 D30, BR5. That's the Chinese one. P47 D30, BR50, the Italian one. So, the American one is a lower BR, it's 4.7. The Chinese and the Italian ones are 5.0. Do you know what's different about these planes? Actually, they are exactly identical except for the air brake. The American one doesn't have an air brake, while the Chinese and the Italian one does. And ultimately, this air brake doesn't matter. It's not useful at all. So the only reason why the American one is 4.7 is because the American pilots are notorious for being the worst players in this entire game. That is the only reason this plane is 4.7, while the other two are 5.0. And that's just one example. There are many more. Alright, let's see what the guy has to say.
If changes to battle ratings were made purely based on server statistics, without any human involvement, that would of course be very convenient. We wouldn't have to spend hundreds of man-hours preparing each update to battle ratings and...
Do you actually spend hundreds of hours preparing the battle rating changes? Somehow, I don't really believe that.
It's entirely possible that something slips through the cracks. That's why we always encourage you to take part in the discussion of BR changes. Share your thoughts, agree or disagree with...
Okay, At least I can agree with this. Yes, they do at the very least ask for player feedback before implementing BR changes, although only sometimes. And oftentimes, even when that feedback is provided, and it is overwhelming, they don't really care. But TLDR, yes, they absolutely use stats to balance vehicles. Do not let them tell you otherwise. And that is exactly why some vehicles that don't get played, they stay at those like old, very bad BRs forever, because there are no stats to use.
When will we finally get proper big maps for MBTs? Or even finally a tank RBSB?
Oh, wow. Considering they talked about, like, specifically shrinking tank maps at the start of the video, the answer is probably never.
As things stand now, the reality of tank battles at high levels is that most players prefer smaller maps and faster-paced matches, ones that relatively often end with one team being pushed back to its spawn simply because the distances between them are so short. Adding extra spawn zones to such maps isn't really feasible. There's simply not enough space. And even if we somehow did that, those new spawns would quickly fall under the control of the dominant team anyway, given how short the engagement distances are.
Okay, so you heard it here first. According to Gaijin, spawn camping cannot be prevented at all. It is impossible to do so. So I guess it will stay in the game as a feature.
Will the basement guy ever be released?
Yeah, okay, haha, that's so funny.
I asked you not to include this question. Why is it here?
Okay. If this is their attempt at damage control, they are doing a really bad job at it. Something Gaijin really needs to do is stop blaming the player base for a lot of the game's problems. If you remember, they did that even during their review bombing, when at first they actually blamed the player base for everything bad that was happening to the game. So they really need to stop doing that. Just acknowledge the problems and work on them. But perhaps that is asking too much of this small indie company. Either way, that was horrible, so I guess I'll catch you guys later. See ya!